life is way too short to not take the risk to get to where we want to go if we're going to impact 100 million people in our lifetime. So whatever your goal is, whatever your mission is, where do you need to take more risks in your life? I don't want to live with regret. Don't die with regret. It's one thing, whether we live another day, another year, another 10 years, or for me, it's going to be about 55 more years when I'm 110 years old, something like that. Don't live with regret. It's far greater to do what you've wanted to do for years and fail than not do it and die wondering, what if? Welcome back to another episode of the Todd Durkin Impact Show. And I hope you are buckled up today because the series continues. We're in the middle of a series called The Next Chapter Starts Now. That's right. Your next chapter, my next chapter, our next chapter starts right now. Matter of fact, last week I shared 10 memories, 10 of my top memories from FQ10 and over a 20 plus year history there. I had recently moved my office and I wanted to share some of the memories. But in moving forward to today's part 2 of a several part episode, we've got several parts coming up. I really want to share some lessons over 25 years. That's right. Let's call it my 25 plus top lessons. I'm going to share this over the next several weeks coming up with you. I'll keep it moving rapid fire. Some of these are going to be quick hitters and some of them are going to go deep. So if you want to go deep, buckle up. If you want some quick hitters, you're going to have them as well. So without further ado, let's dive into today's show right now. All right. Lesson number 1. Lesson number 1 of my 25 plus lessons here. And again, this is part 2 of my series. Last week was all on top memories, and this one's all starting lessons. And I'm going to start with number 1 is you got to start. It's all about starting. And my question to you today is, what do you want to start? Because when I look back at lessons, one of the top lessons that I have learned is you got to start if you want to get to somewhere that you dream of going. It's all about the start. And many times we sit there in imperfect action, or is it no action and you got perfect thoughts and vision and dreams? We want to get started. When I started Fitness Quest 10 with no clients, no money, no business plan, it was pull the trigger and ready, fire, aim, and figure it out. So no different than when I started my mastermind in 2007. Now let's get started. And we started with 12 people then. When I started my first book, matter of fact, the Impact Body Plan, I'm holding it right here in my hands. I have it close to my chest at all times. The Impact Body Plan. You just got to get started. And then heck, 6 books later, you just got to start what you say you're going to do. The start is often the hardest part, but you got to start to get momentum in your life. Momentum leads to mo happiness, mo money, mo everything. You got to get Mo, Uncle Mo in your life. Matter of fact, I'm sharing 25 plus lessons over these next several weeks, but you're going to get a lot more than 25 because I'm going to have lessons like that about momentum in your life. But my question is to you today, because I'll be doing coaching throughout, is what do you want to start? And what are you looking to create? Is it professionally? Is it personally? Is it financially? Is it relationally? Is it maybe starting some traditions with your family? And I've shared them before on our show. You know, when the kids were young, every night we used to go to bed and say, I'm so happy I can do anything. I love I'd say Luke, Brady, and McKenna. And then we'd all say, we're the Durkins. We always do our best and we never give up. That's a tradition that was started when Luke, my oldest, was a young kid. And it went through 18 plus years of that. But what habits do you want to start with your family, traditions, any habits for you personally that you want to start or you need to start? So my question to you is, where are you going to start today? And if you are doing what you love to do, fantastic, continue. But the last I checked, we need to continue to evolve as well. And it all comes down to the start, and we all need to start somewhere. And just know this, is that when you get started, bigger isn't better, better is better. That could be a different lesson, but it's not. It's part of starting. Is bigger isn't better. better is better. And I've shared this before, but why is because many times, again, our perfectionist mindsets prevent us from actually getting started. Just start with the refurbished equipment and carpet and everything else. Just get started and put your spirit and your soul out there. It's not about how good the place looks or, this and that. Just get started and figure it out. As my good friend Mark Rodriguez says, FITFO. Figure it out. Figure it out. You could fill in the blanks. So think about that, about getting started, and whatever it takes today, get started. That is number one, my friends. Number two, be the most positive person you know. Be the most positive person you know. So are you the most positive person you know? Only you can answer that. Like, are you the most positive person you know? I call it contagiasm, contagious enthusiasm. Do you have contagious enthusiasm? Do I want to spend time with you? Do you want to spend time with me? Because I believe that we either attract positivity or negativity. We're either positive or we're negative type people. And it's often said is where your attention goes, your energy flows. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. So when you think about that, is where's your energy at today? On a 1 to 10 scale, today, where's your energy at? In the last month, where's your energy been at? And if it's at a 7, 8, 9, 10, fantastic, continue. But if you found yourself at a 3, 4, or 5, then let's do something to really amplify your energy to the next level. It's often said that if you stink right now, or you fill in the blank, if you stink right now, you're sucking in business right now, then your business probably does also. Meaning if your personal energy is not good right now, your business probably isn't good either. Your career isn't going exactly the way you planned. Just make sure you're not stinking. You can't be stinking and get to the level that you want to. So make sure we're doing everything on an energetic level that you need to be doing. So where you are today in your business and your career is where your energy was 6 months ago. Think about that. Where you are today in your business or your career is how your energy was 6 months ago. Why? Is because sometimes it takes a few months for the financials to catch up or the culture to downshift, and all of a sudden it bubbles to a head on that. So where you're at today is what your business is going to look like in 6 months from now. Let's make sure we clean it up to the level that you want to and get her done. And then what do you need to do to take even better care of yourself? I'm going to share this a couple times in my 25 plus lessons over the next couple of weeks in different ways, but physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, where can you take even better care of yourself? I want you taking world-class care of yourself, not average, not mediocre, because we can't stand for mediocrity. At least I can't, and I know you can't, because if you could, you wouldn't be listening to this show, because we have set a precedent, a standard of what are we going to do to live up to that standard. So when you think about that, that often involves a little bit of evolution or change. And change is crucial if you're going to make progress. So think about here today, be the most positive person you know. Are you? Are you the most positive person you know? And really fight like mad to be that person. Now, if you're like, well, so-and-so is positive as well, good. Then you have 2 or 3 or 4 people in your life who you're around who is positive. Continue to be the beacon of light. Be that positive person that is contagious, because if you are trying to build a culture in your business, in your gym, in your life coaching business, wherever you work, you want to make sure that you have the right team of people around you that is going to contagiously get people even better than they are. Number 3, losses remind you of the fragility of life. I wanted to put this up high because what I've realized in my career over 25 years in the brick and mortar fitness business career is that nothing is permanent, even people. Nothing's permanent, even people. And you can't afford to take a single session, class, day, or week for granted. As I record this, I just heard yesterday of a dear friend, a good friend from the Perform Better family, Rob Milani's passing. Rob was just in his 40s. I've been teaching at Perform Better for over 15 years, and I don't know if there's ever been a Perform Better that I was at that he wasn't at. And when I think of the family back there, including his lovely wife, Erin, and the pain that she's experiencing as we speak right now, I think about the fragility of life, and with a 1-year-old daughter and an older son, and the family that he leaves behind. Man, life is fragile. Life is fragile. And I was reflecting upon preparation for today. I'm thinking of all the people who've gone before me in the last 25 years. And there's too many to name, but some of those jerseys hang up in my gym. Guys like Sawman and Louie, and then most recently Joel here at FQ10. And the list is endless. And I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? Even FQ10 isn't permanent for me, right? I got Impact X Performance, and what I'm doing there, like FQ10 hopefully is etched in permanence for history, but even my own being there has shifted, right? But it's always about the people at FQ10, the community, unbelievable people, the community that we're building at IXP, not only afar and abroad on the East Coast, but out here on the West Coast. It's always about the people. And as I look to build a new community of IXP devotees in San Diego, I think of the communities we built. First, it was FQ10. Then it was at the Mastermind. And then now we've got a new life coaching program kicking off. And we've got about 80 life coaches now in the first 2 cohorts. And now we're launching a third one on October 19th. And then I think about the GYMR coaches. Those are communities. And when I think about losses remind you of the fragility of life, think right now of the 1, 2, 3 people that you've lost in the last several years alone and what that's meant for your life. You know, I have something on my home computer here, and it states this: the days seem long, the weeks fly by. The weeks seem long, yet the year fly by. The years often seem long, yet life is flying by. Life is flying by. Let's maximize the days. So think about that. When you think about the days are long, the weeks are long, the years are long, but it's flying by. Let's maximize the days. It comes down to right now, today. Let's really be uber present with who we're speaking with. As you listen to these words right now of how can you be a better man or a better woman on all that you do. So point number 3, all about losses remind you of the fragility of life. Amen to that. Number 4, if there's a fork in the road, take it. Thank you, Yogi Berra. Yogi Berra said that. If there's a fork in the road, take it. But my lesson here is, in learning over 25 years, is there are going to be forks in the road. You're going to have fork in the road moments in your career. Let me ask you a question. What are some of the forks in the road that you've taken in your career? What are some of those come to Jesus moments where you've had to decide, do I go left or do I go right? Do I take this opportunity or do I not? Do I shift directions? Do I not? Do I start this project? Do I not? And when I was writing down here number 4 for myself, as far as fork in the road moments, just in my career, just the last 25 years, not my athletic career and life, but we all have those moments. It came back to what I shared with number 1. Fork in the road moment, starting. Do I start or not? Yes or no? Yes, let's give this a shot. Worst that comes is I fail. Okay, then figure it out, right? But fork in the road moments for me, what are yours? Starting, then expanding 3 years later, and then 3 years later after that in 2006, expanding again. Starting the mastermind group in 2007 was a major fork in the road. Starting to speak in 2005, like, do I want to go down the route of speaking? Writing my first book in 2010, the Impact Body Plan, when LaDainian wrote the foreword along with Drew Brees. Drew had just won the Super Bowl, but that was a fork in the road moment because it took a lot of time, effort, and energy to write the book. And then even more recently, 2017, guys, I faced a big decision. And it might not seem big on the outside, but I was offered the opportunity to go on to a TV show. If you remember, for those of you who've been following me for a while, in 2017, I had the opportunity to go on NBC primetime TV. It's called Strong. And 5 things had to happen in order for me to say yes. And some of them were out of my control. Like, I had to have a physical because my father had passed away at the age of 58. And because of the physical nature of the show, they didn't want me croaking on live national TV. And I had to get a heart scan, and I had to cancel a speaking engagement, and I had to get approval from Under Armour to be on the show. All these things had to happen. But ultimately, it was a fork in the road that I said, yes, I'm going to give this a shot. And I had to leave my business for 3 months. Could you imagine leaving your business for 3 months and you think that it needs you in the business? You want to find out if you have a business? Leave for 3 months, and does it fall apart or not? I think my business probably actually did better without me there. But think about it. Could you leave for 3 months? That was a major fork in the road. 2020. There's something called the pandemic. We don't spend a lot of time talking about that now, but that was a major fork in the road. As a matter of fact, go back and listen to episodes 301 through 306. That was a series I did about reinvention. Similar to this series I'm doing on The Next Chapter Starts Now. The Next Chapter Starts Now. But that ultimately created a fork in the road for me. A fork in the road that ultimately said I had to change my relationship with FQ10. And again, my fifth book, True Strength, talked about that. True strength, not meaning physical strength, but spiritual strength to get through the most difficult times of my life between physical pain, mental anguish, changing a business relationship with the thing I love the most, FQ10, and saying I'm going to start what's IXP, Impact X Performance, just last year in 2024, major fork in the road. Meaning when I had to pray about this and say, okay, I'm going to go from one facility, and now the vision is to try to scale this bad boy to create lighthouses all over the world, and say, all right, God, guide me, because I don't know how I'm going to do this, but it's a fork in the road. And if all of this stuff just happened for naught, and it was just for me to go through a lot of pain, then that's not going to cut it. So I'm going to use this pain as my purpose, and I'm going to create lighthouses to create light all over the world so we can hit 300 to 500 people per community and multiply that by 50, 100, 500, 1,000 communities nationwide. Okay, then it makes sense. But that's a fork in the road, guys. Yes or no? Are you taking or not? Only you can make that decision. Like even right now, fork in the road. And I'm going to reveal some things coming up here in this series of like, fork in the road. Take it. Take it. Take the fork in the road. Whatever that means to you, left or right, take it. It's often said that you will need to stand up and believe in something so important to you during the toughest or darkest times of your life. So what are you standing up and believing for right now? If you're going through a tough time, this is when you get tested, but you'll never be tested more than you can literally shoulder. So what is it? And it's going to come down to a few things. I call them the 6 C's. 6 C's when you're under pressure, when you got to stand up and believe in something so important to you, and it's a tough time. You're going through a dark time, and man, I don't know how I'm going to do it. It's going to come down to, number one, your core values. Your core values. It's going to come down to clarity, courage, conviction, commitment, and connections. You're going to need to lean in on your connections. You're going to need to be committed. You're going to have to be convicted of the crusade that you're going on. Like I'm convicted. You'll hear about why and how coming up here over the next few weeks about some of the convictions in this next chapter that you're starting. At least I'm starting right now, coming up. So those 6 C's are very important. Core values, clarity, courage, convictions, commitment, and connection, if you're taking notes. Number 5. You're going to like this. This is short and sweet, this one. Many times, your revenue projections are half of what you, or your revenues, many times your revenues are half of what you project, and your expenses are double what you project. Can I get an amen? Anyone on that one? Like if you've ever done your spreadsheets, you've done your business plan, and you're like, man, this business makes total sense. This is a no-brainer. Well, this is where you got to go back and forth over and over on your projections, because what I've learned, and I've done a lot of projections on a lot of different businesses, not just my own. And typically what comes about is your revenues come out to about half of what you project, and your expenses are double what you project. Now, hopefully at the end of the day, there's still some profitability left in there for you, but I learned something from Wayne Cotton many moons ago called your dayao and your bab. You got to have a bab and a dayao. A bab and a dayao. Listen up. Your bab is your base acceptable bottom line. Worst case scenario, I'm only going to attract a certain number of clients or members to your business, and my expenses are going to be this much. Your BAB is like the worst case scenario. Your dayao is your best case scenario. Your desirable, attainable objective. If all the stars align, this is what this business can do. This is what the revenues are going to look like. This is what the expenses are going to look like. Now, you want to be between your BAB and your dayao, hopefully closer to your dayao, but you want to be somewhere in between, because if you fall below the BAB, then you're going to be in trouble. But a lesson learned is many times your revenues are going to be half of what you project and your expenses will be double what you project. And for all you experienced business folks out there, you're probably shaking your head like, that's right, TD, you're right on with that. So just some wisdom for y'all who are doing some projections right now. Number 6, dream big, start small, and work your butt off. Dream big, start small, work your butt off. What I often see is potentially taking too bite of the dream too early on. Like, you want to dream big. Dreams energize you. Dreams magnify your spirit. They give you the lifeblood to actually go take action. But nothing wrong with starting small and then building into your bigger dream. And that's all through hard work. And I'm often like, okay, you got to dream it. You got to think it. You got to write it down. You got to share it with your mentors and your coaches. You got to then edit from what their feedback is. And then you got to take action. No action, no good. You got to take action for that. Now realize this. Pay attention right now as you're out there huffing and puffing. Every dream has 2 things. So I say dream big. Every dream has 2 things. And I've learned this. Number 1, processes. And 2, price tags. So every dream has processes and price tags. So when you think about that, processes are the systems. Like, what are the systems and steps needed in order to accomplish your dream? What are they? They got to be written out, your steps, your systems. And the longer you've been around, the more your systems get intact, right? So you want to perfect your processes. And 2, price tags. Dreams do have price tags. And many people discount that or never really take it into consideration. But your dreams do have price tags. Like, what is the time or the money or the energy or the sacrifice needed in order to accomplish the dream that you have? Nothing wrong with price tags and nothing wrong with processes, but you got to realize that dreams do have processes and they have price tags. What's the time, the energy, the money, the sacrifice that's needed in order to accomplish your dream? So let me ask you the question. What is your dream? What is that dream that you have deep inside your heart? You're like, Todd, I get it. But let me tell you what, I'm going to make sure between the time and the energy, the money, and the sacrifice that's necessary to get there, I want to get there. And what's it going to cost you? What I want to make sure is, if I was coaching you live, is that it's not going to cost you your family. It's not going to cost you your marriage. Hopefully I can amplify that and embellish and strengthen those things. We don't want it to be at an all expense that costs you everything but to your dream, but it costs you this much. And you got to balance that out, because ultimately it's an investment versus an expense. A dream is an investment in you, your family, and your future. And remember, you always have to make your dreams bigger than your memories. Now, I'll never forget, it was the beginning of the pandemic. I was talking to Pastor Jeremiah about this and some of the changes that I was in process of making. I was in process of changing the dream from one to a franchise. And as I was going through this of the price tag that was necessary, it was going to be a 3.5+ year process for me processing through this. And the price tag of, it's going to take a lot of money, a lot of energy, a lot of sacrifice of what has been built to build upon what has been built. And I'll never forget him saying, it's way more important to look in the front windshield than the rearview mirror. The front windshield is 10 times bigger than the rearview mirror. And that just stuck with me to this day, so clear and vivid. As Pastor Jeremiah said, that it's more important to look in the front windshield than the rearview mirror. Regardless of how many successes you've had in the past, fantastic. Revel in it for about a minute or two. It's all about looking forward, about what's going to be created, what you're going to do. Great to look back and reflect, but where are you going? What are you going to create? How are you going to impact people long term? And never let your past circumstances limit your vision of the future. You hear that? Never let your past circumstances limit your vision of the future. So hopefully they're going to give you the vision and help amplify your vision, not limit your vision because you get scared, because you get fearful of what if it happens again? What if this goes on? And you start living in a little bit of stinking thinking, scarcity mindset, which is no good. So my question to you is this: what is your dream? What is your vision? What do you want to create? Think about that today. What's your purpose here on earth? It'd be remiss if I didn't talk about purposes. What is your divine purpose? Make sure with what you're doing aligns with your deepest purpose. Otherwise, shift it, change it today. Like, don't wait. Like, you got to get your purpose aligned with your dreams and your visions and ultimately your mission. Like, what is your mission in life? What is it you're looking to do on that? And I just want to emphasize, like I shared earlier on, you think about your mission and your purpose and your dreams is we all need to start somewhere. And if you're just getting started and you're like, yeah, but I'm 40 years old or I'm 50 years old or I'm 65 years old, get started. What are you going to do? Live the next 10 years in regret of like, well, I never started. No, start today. Doesn't matter about the age. Again, better is better. Better is better on that. So do what is going to allow you to be better on that. Number 7. Take risk. Don't be afraid to fail and use fear as fuel. So it's closely related to 6 about dreaming big and doing the work, but take risk. I've learned this lesson over and over. People are like, man, how'd you get that done? I don't know. I took a risk and it was a big risk, but a calculated risk, not using the fear of failure and being paralyzed by that, but using it to be propelled by the fear of failure. Like, how do you use fear as fuel? So think about that when you're starting. When you started your career, when you started your business, when you were new to something, it was probably a little bit scary. How about when you're changing your structure, your deliverables? You gotta blow up your whole system now because you know where the future is going is going to be a little bit different. So you're going to change your structure, your deliverables. Well, maybe you got to take that risk and do that, knowing where your business is going to be for the next 5 to 7 years or the next 10 to 15 years. Let's just say 5 to 7 years. I know for me, taking a risk was like when I started speaking. I'm like, I'm going to start to speak more. I'm going to go on the road, let's say once a month or so, maybe more. It's a risk. Starting a new business is a risk. But typically it's the mindset that holds you back from getting you to where you want to go. The mindset to say, I'm too old or I'm too young or I don't know if I have all the answers. Figure it out. Figure it out. Maybe it's selling your business, taking risks, don't being afraid to fail. Maybe it's the right move. Maybe it's not. Get other smart people around you or not. Only you know that. And listen, as long as you have time above earth and you have time to correct, then you've got to decide that. I say ready, fire, aim is better than ready, aim, fire. Ready, fire, aim than ready, aim, fire, and being stuck with aiming, because imperfect action is better than perfect inaction. Perfect inaction gets us nowhere. There was no action being taken. We want to take imperfect action. Just start moving forward and getting stuff done. And what I've learned is mistakes are part of the journey. Learn from them. Don't repeat them and move on. You know, people don't remember the mistakes. It's like, oh, you've done this and that. You have no idea the number of mistakes that was made to get to where you're going. So it's like that fail forward attitude. It's that language I heard Jocko Willink talk about. When something bad happens, just say good. Something bad happens, good. It's a shifting of that mindset, like good. We got this, baby. Let's go next. I like saying next all the time, snapping the band, saying next. So I asked you the question here today, like you think about your greatest mistakes and your greatest lessons learned. I'm sharing, several of my greatest lessons and mistakes learned, but some of my top mistakes, I just shared two or three, like not having systems in the beginning and winging it, literally winging it. You can't scale and get successful as you want if you don't systemize your business. Now at Impact X Performance, Travis and I, my business partner Travis Barnes and I, work very hard at making sure everything is systemized, that you could follow the order on that. Obviously, you need great people. You need people with a mission. You need people who are fired up, that want to change lives and create impact and change people with their fitness and their mindset and their soul set and all of that. But you got to have systems. You got to have something to follow, especially if someone says, hey, I want to create an Impact X Performance, and they don't even come from the fitness arena. Well, then you really need systems, because they may have the DNA to do that. So not having systems was an error way back 25 years ago. I don't know if you remember, I started something that failed 2015 called FitBlock. FitBlock. Man, I tell you what, FitBlock was awesome. It was awesome. My business partner at the time, Sam, it was so good. Unfortunately, it was about 5 years ahead of its time, because if FitBlock came out in 2020, I'd be doing this podcast right now from the beaches of Aruba. Because let me tell you what, FitBlock, it was all about online streaming workouts. It was like kind of a Peloton type place 5 years before any of that even came to fruition. And also, I think of mistakes and lessons. I think back, I've hired and fired, unfortunately, hundreds of people in 25 plus years. Literally, we've had, our height, we had 42 people at FQ10. Now we've got about 12 people on staff at TDE, and IXP. Obviously, we're growing like mad fire here. If it seems to be too good to be true, it probably is in the hiring process. We say it all the time, and this is a lesson reinforced than learned, is hire slow, fire fast. How many of you, like me, know this but don't do it? Normally there's one or two people in the bunch that like maybe I should get rid of them, maybe they're not the right fit, but I'll just keep them around. And they're not adding to your culture at all, but it's convenient. So you just avoid it until next year, right? Man, I think great leaders and people who are on it all the time are constantly looking at upgrading your team on that. So my question to you is, what are your top 2 or 3 mistakes, and what lessons did you glean from them? What did you learn from them? And then where do you need to take risks in your career, your business, or your personal life today? Where can you take risks? Because ultimately, to get to the next level, there needs to be risk. And as I share, this next chapter starts now, and I share some of the big risks that I'm taking. I was telling someone this morning over breakfast, is like, listen, life is way too short to not take the risk to get to where we want to go if we're going to impact 100 million people in our lifetime. So whatever your goal is, whatever your mission is, where do you need to take more risks in your life? Because what I don't want to have happen, probably you don't want to happen, is I don't want to live with regret. Don't die with regret. That's one thing, whether we live another day, another year, another 10 years, or for me, it's going to be about 55 more years when I'm 110 years old, something like that. Don't live with regret. It's far greater to do what you've wanted to do for years and fail than not do it and die wondering, what if? Did you catch that? Don't live with regret. It's far greater to do what you've wanted to do for years and fail than not do it and die wondering, what if I would have done that? What if I would have bought this or sold that? What if I would have started this and had the audacity and the courage to do this? What would it have led to? That's called regret. And I don't want you living with regret today. If you have regret today, we got to snap out of it, and we got to take the action step necessary so we can move on and not live with regret, because regret will kill you. Number 8, walking in the middle of the mess is uncomfortable. Buckle up the bootstraps, my friends. Walking in the middle of the mess is uncomfortable. Have you ever walked in the middle of the mess? Is it messy out right now for any one of you? Is it like you're going through a tough time, a challenging time? Or can you think back and reflect on a recent time that was weeks, months, or even years long where you had to go in the mess and it was so uncomfortable? You just wanted out. You didn't want to sit there and salivate and marinate. Walk in the middle of the mess is uncomfortable. Now, for me, I share this as a major life lesson the last 25 years because from years 2020 to 2023 was a major mess between my second knee replacement and my back injury that left me in a bad state, which ultimately challenged me to restructure my relationship with FQ10, which ultimately ended in a sleep apnea diagnosis. And if you've been listening to the show for a long time, you know the story, so I won't go through it again. But 3.5 years of hell. 3.5 years of hell ultimately led me in 2024 for that mess to become the message, for the pain to become my purpose. And that was called Impact X Performance, and walking with faith and saying, all right, God, long enough. What do you want me to do with all this? This mess that I've been walking through and trudging through, and I could hardly walk, let alone work out, is where's it going? So for you, remember that sometimes your pain becomes your purpose. Your mess becomes your message. And that for me is called Impact X Performance. And that's what I've been doing since 2024 as I amplify all of our coaching programs, our life coaching program, our Get Your Mind Right coaching program, our mastermind coaching program for the entrepreneurs and fit pros who are looking to go deeper, is because as a divine uniqueness of coaching, the more experience you get, the more mess you walk through, the more wisdom that you receive and get that you can impart back. And you can then go serve the person you used to be. You can go back as for me, a trainer and coach who's built a very successful business and go back and help people who are building the business. Oh, but wait, you hit a little stump in the road and now all of a sudden you're considering maybe selling your business or restructuring your business or rebranding your business or all of the things that I've done and going through and I'm doing. You become wiser and smarter the longer you've been around and you go through the mess. So if you're going through the mess today, congratulations. Congratulations. Keep walking, keep moving. Keep going one foot in front of the other, because I can tell you this right now is the mess becomes your message and that pain becomes your deepest purpose. Number 8, walk in the middle of the mess is uncomfortable, but ultimately is going to allow you to live your deepest purpose. Number 9, I love this one right here. There is nothing like live events. I'm big on live in-person events. Show up to live events. Be in the room. I mean, I was big on this before the pandemic. And then the pandemic dried it up, sucked my soul dry. I don't know about you, but man, the pandemic sucked my soul dry. So dry, so dry and soul dry that I was practically dead. And then having that first live event, I think it was like 2022. Man, live events fill your soul with life. Whether you're introverted or you're extroverted, when you're in the room and you feel the vibration in a room that's created with other fire-breathing dragons, when you're in the room, that gives you life. Live events give you life. Now, I've beaten the drum for a long time on live events, big events, small events. It doesn't matter, all of it. Why? Because there's human interaction. And when you get to press the flesh of another human being with a great, big, firm handshake, a big, warm hug, a high five, an embrace, man, there's nothing like it. And I got to tell you, as I record this now, we're just a few weeks out, about a month out from our next big event in Montana, my annual retreat. I can't encourage you enough, podcast listeners. If I don't know you, please be in the room. We got like 10 spots left. Be in the room. And you will get firsthand of what it's like when I talk about be in the room at a live event, of what it's like when you have a team of people pour into creating something that's so magnificent and special that you can get one thought, one vision, or one dream. And like, man, it can catapult you personally or professionally to a different stratosphere that you can't even imagine right now. But you got to be in the room. As a matter of fact, right now, not only am I getting ready and preparing hard for that Montana retreat, I know that right after that, we'll be getting ready for 2026 and going back to doing even more mastermind events, live mastermind events here in San Diego. We used to have mentorship live events. I did 19 of them up until 2019, actually 2020. And then that thing hit. And we didn't do as many. Well, we haven't had a mentorship since then. On that, we will get back to doing mentorships in the first half of 2026 like we used to. Smaller, but live. Why? Because I believe in the power of live events. No doubt. Number 10, the hardest but most important thing is prioritizing family. Family. You know, when I think about this, and I started the podcast in 2018, I think about that in 2018, 2019, which is now 6-7 years ago, 440 something episodes later. I'm really proud of my professional accomplishments. And there's been a few along the way because I've been around for a while. But I'm most proud of my family. 3 kids, 1 in law school, 1 in college, and 1 finishing high school. My wife, Melanie, almost 25 years now. Next February 2026, will be on 25 years. And I think about that, and I think about, would it all be worth it if I lost my family, or I wasn't the father that I set out to be, or I wasn't the husband that I set out to be? It takes, as each of you know, if you're a parent or you have a spouse, it takes massive priority when you're traveling and when you're busy and you're out, is how do you walk through the door and bring peace into the house and not bringing and dragging dead bodies into the house? Meaning all the stuff that happens in a day that you could just go vent about, the bad stuff that happens, or the unhappy conversations you had to have, and all this stuff. Like, how do you bring peace into your house? How do you bring more compassion into your home? So my question to you is, what can you do to further prioritize your family? Because I'm on the cusp right now, next year in 2026, of becoming an empty nester. What? Is that even possible? I'm like, how is that possible? Well, in the next evolution of life, in my 25 lessons in 25 years plus, on this, I just want to acknowledge, in my lessons, is how important family is, because I've learned along the way is that you commit and you say, I'm not going to lose my family at the expense of A, B, C, and D, or if I made X amount of dollars more, I don't care if it's $1,000 more, $100,000 more, $1 million more, $10 million more. Is it worth it? No. In my mind, no. I don't want to do that and lose my family, because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, what matters most? Who's going to be around your bedside? Who are you going to be sharing with? Who's that next generation of that? It's your family and closest loved ones. And for me, I share that with you today because that's a lesson that I have learned and continue to prioritize. And ask you the question is, what can you do to even further prioritize your family even more? What little things can we do, can I do, can you do to further prioritize your love for your spouse or your significant other, for your sons or your daughters if you have kids, for your loved ones, for your mom and your dad if you still have mom and dad in your life? Fantastic. Losing my mom earlier here in 2025, there's not a Saturday that goes by that I don't want to call my mom, and I can't. Every Saturday we talk for a long time. I can't call her now. If you have your mom and dad's prioritizing that call with your kids or your parents on that, because that's the priority that I'm talking about, so you don't live with the regret that I spoke about earlier. Well, guys, that's part 1 of my 3-part series. That's right, we have a 3-part series coming up with my 25 lessons, 25 plus lessons over 25 years. I want to share my first 10 with you today. I hope you enjoyed them. Do me a favor. Number 1, please share on your social media which of those 10 was most meaningful to you. Which one resonated the deepest with you? I'd love for you to share that. Hit a story, tag me on that story so I can see it. I'll share that on my social media as well. Again, I'm sharing 25 plus of them. I'm not sure you're taking notes and putting it in your phone, but out of my 25 plus lessons learned in 25 years, which of those first 10 resonated or hit you the hardest, right between the soul? Which one was it that said, man, this is the one that I resonate with the deepest? Please share with me. Let me know how I can continue to help you. Thank you for joining me on this is actually part 2 of the Next Chapter Starts Now series, but it's the first one of my 25 plus lessons in 25 years. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have an incredible day, an incredible week, and I can't wait to see you next week. Until next time, remember, train hard, eat right, live inspired, and go create impact.